What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Scooch back for another episode. Thanks for tuning in. And today we've actually got a special guest on the channel. We've got my sister over here, Samantha. We're going to do a review on her 2019, it is 19, isn't it? 2019 Civic Sport. Tried to convince her to get into an SI. She didn't want to drive a stick every day. Well, she probably would have, but she chose to go with the CVT, you know, good modern gas mileage and all that good stuff. But yeah, this is the car over here. How long you had this for? This is a year now?
No, not even.
Oh.
Like, I want to say like 10 months.
Okay, so
He's just a baby.
we're closing in. Yep,
Yeah.
Marty's just a baby. But red is beautiful. It's got the black trim, which is definitely a huge upgrade from the chrome. It's got the nice sport wheels. It's got some bird poop on the hood. You know, it's a nice car. You know, it really has it all. And if you've seen my previous videos, this is the spoiler that I was talking about that I got for free, essentially, because they gave it to us to make the deal on the car. So if you've seen how to buy a brand new car, I will link that. Is it over here? I think it's over. Nope, it's over there.
Describe
No, it's up here. I'll put it up here. It's on one of the sides. Put it up, and yeah, so go ahead and watch that video after this one. But yeah, we're gonna kind of get right into the car and just drive it and see how it goes. I've only driven it, I think, twice since you've had it. So I haven't really driven it that much. So this is gonna be good. All right, so we are officially in the Civic.
Always buckle up, kids.
Always buckle up. And these are quite an upgrade, actually. If you haven't been inside one of the new 2019, or actually even I think it was 2015-ish and above, they remodeled them. I'll double check on that. I think it was. The nice thing about this one is it actually has the turn knob for the volume. The previous models, and even some of the newer ones, depending on what one you get, comes with the, it's a touchscreen piece, and it's a little more difficult to use while you're driving, so having the actual volume knob is a really nice feature. And the interior is really just extremely nice. They've done I mean, a lot of it is plastic, but it looks nice. You know, it's a Civic at the end of the day. It's not going to be over the top, but it is pretty similar to the SI that I drove in one of the previous videos, other than a couple of little red accents that he had. Most of that's been replaced with silver, which is a really clean look. But yeah, you got your steering wheel controls and everything else, so I mean, yeah, it's pretty much got everything you could possibly want in it. But start it up. Oh.
That baby can purr.
Oh, she can.
Yeah.
All right, so let's put it down a gear here, I guess, you know, throw it into what you call drive. So, Samantha, you came out of a 2010
Nissan
Sentra.
JJ. For those of you who don't know.
For those of you who don't know. And how does driving this new, now aside from the fact that it's a new car, because obviously the Sentra was a 2010, this car is 9 years newer, but overall, how do you feel about this car as a whole? Do you prefer to drive the Coupe? Do you prefer to drive the sedan? Do you miss having some of the space of the sedan? Not that it was a huge one, but do you miss some of the space of the sedan? What do you like about this car so far?
I like how it's very simple, compact. Everything is like right where you need it. You know, the gear is right there.
Yeah, the shifter is right in the center console, where you will find most shifters in vehicles, yes, aside from your select few trucks and SUVs.
Nope, the other one was much lower.
The other one was actually up higher. It was up here, more on the dash.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Well,
know your car better than you do.
Well, this car is very sleek, and I do like that feature, definitely.
So you like the sportiness of it?
Yes.
And does it feel a lot quicker than your other car?
Oh, for sure.
For sure?
Yep.
Okay. Is the visibility pretty good out of it compared to like having more windows? Because you did have bigger windows in the other car. Do you prefer to, was that visibility better, or is this still pretty easy to see out of?
Not gonna lie, it took me like a month to get used to the blind spots.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's all like, it's like right there, so when you turn your head, you can't really see anything.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I was gonna say, because I drove this briefly the other day to put air in the tires after I swapped the summer ones on.
Yeah.
And yes, and I noticed that after driving something like the FRS, which was a smaller coupe and everything like that, you have much bigger windows. So it's actually much easier to see out of this car than it was to see out of my FRS, which was similarly sized and pretty much the same It's in the same class. You know, it's a coupe. It's, you know,
Oh, really?
4 seats. Yeah, that it was actually because the window in it was much smaller. It was actually probably half the size of that window. So this is a nice size.
Well, now that I'm used to it, I do like the windows. You can actually see out of them. So.
Do you ever use these paddle shifters?
No, I don't even get what they're for.
Well, they're for paddle shifting.
Well,
So if you could put it, I mean, I think you can do it in drive, and it's a little tougher on a CVT, but you know, it doesn't have the same effect. But, you know, you usually put it in sport, and then you can actually pick through the gears here. So see how it says, I don't know if you can see over there, it says it has the 3.
Yeah.
So then you can hit the gas. And
Yeah,
then you hit the
tried.
button.
Oh, wow.
And then you hit the button, and then it upshifts to the next gear. And then I don't know if you can just, you have 7. You have what says 7 gears. Now the CVT is belt driven for those who don't know. Typical transmissions have actual gears. This car has just a belt, and the belt will adjust without getting too sciencey about it. Because honestly, I don't even know how to begin to explain it. I know how it works, but I wouldn't know how to explain it. Basically, you have a belt, and the belt adjusts depending on what gear it wants to be in. I'm going to get out of the way of this Q5.
We're never actually in the way. People are just rude.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
But I gotta say, I like how this car drives. I will say, after I drove it the other day, I was a little impressed because, as I had mentioned to you, this is the VTEC model. So the sport sedans come in a turbo model, and it's basically a smaller, or it's a less powerful version of the SI. It's a turbo 4-cylinder. On the coupes, they continued to put the naturally aspirated VTEC engine in the car, which makes about 150 horsepower, I think it is. And
Sounds about right.
yeah, and it's actually very similar to the engine that's in my Del Sol. It makes about the same horsepower, and it's the same it's a similar VTEC engine. Now, what's interesting about this car, and I did not know this the first time I drove it before she bought it, was that I remember driving and saying, wow, this car feels really, really sluggish. And I thought it was mainly because of the CVT. Now, after driving it the other day, I took it around a loop, and it's kind of a highway setup near us, and I get into it. And those of you that have driven CVTs, you'll know that when you get up into the higher RPMs, that the tach will actually just hold right before redline. That's the point of the CVT, is to get constant power, so you're not losing power between gear changes. And I was just expecting, okay, well, that's going to be it, you know, nothing's going to happen. And then all of a sudden I actually heard the VTEC cross over, and I was surprised. I knew it was a VTEC engine. I just thought it might be a newer design, that I might not hear it because it's not an SI or anything like that. Typically you would hear the VTEC crossover in those SIs because it was a bit of a sportier car. They wanted you to hear it. It was a louder intake, things like that. And I was surprised that I wasn't hearing it at first. And then after driving it the other day, turns out it does have it. So now you said you noticed that, but I wasn't sure, because I know that I'm sure you have noticed it, but I didn't know if you picked up on what it was or not.
Well, I did pick up on it, but I'm not as knowledgeable in this car thing as you, so
yes.
I did not know what that was.
Oh, okay.
So I figured, all right, got a little power in him. So
Marty's got a little power in him. You
Yeah.
know, he's ready for what life's gonna throw.
Yep.
You done any donuts in this yet?
No.
No donuts?
We should.
We could. Oh, there's what you could have got. You look at this nice little S2000.
I do like those.
Yeah, they are very nice. I don't know if I'd get silver.
Can this car even do donuts? I don't even know.
It can do reverse donuts.
We should do it.
I'll give it a little sport feel.
Do it
All right,
for
let's see if we can hear the VTEC crossover on camera. I'm not sure if it's going to pick up, but we'll give it a shot.
Let's give it a listen now, shall we?
See, you didn't really hear it. I will say that was pretty quick. So I noticed the last time that I drove it, I think it might have been because I was already going about 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And what happened was, what I've noticed in the Del Sol is when you're driving it, if you start in a lower RPM or in first gear and you just go to redline, you don't really notice the VTEC crossover as much for some reason. It's just not as loud. You can hear it, but it's not as loud. It's when you're in a higher gear and you kind of ease into it a little bit more that you can hear it. So I'm curious if, because I just did like a 0 to 50 right there, if that's why I didn't notice it. Once it gets into VTEC, it stays in VTEC. doesn't come out.
Does it only do that in sport mode?
No, what, the VTEC?
Yeah.
No, it'll do that in drive, because I have it in drive the other day. Sport is basically the newer version of drive and overdrive. So like older cars had drive and overdrive, and what that allowed the car to do was put it at a higher RPM and get to that higher RPM quicker. So it gave it a little bit better of acceleration. That's exactly what this is. They just call it sport mode now. So you have drive and sport. It's the same concept, but they just have a different name for it now. So let's see how this goes. We'll put it in, just have it in drive for now. And I'll just get going about 30, and then we'll see if we can hear the crossover this time. Because again, I was a little surprised by it when it happened last time. All right. Hear that?
Yeah.
It was right at the gear change on that one, so we were in a little bit of a tricky spot. But I'm not sure if the camera picked up on that. I'll be curious once I start to edit it. But yeah, you will notice that. So that, again, it was just kind of interesting to me because I wasn't expecting to actually hear it the first time it happened. And now I've noticed that you can hear it. So that pretty much wraps it up for today. All in all, great car. Fantastic if you're looking for something with good gas mileage and you're not looking to spend as much as you would on the SI, but you want something a little nicer than the base model, because let's be honest, these wheels look awesome, and the black trim it really completes the outside of the car in something like this. The chrome is just not a good look in my opinion. Some people might like it, that's great, but I personally don't think it looks that good, especially on a red car, or maybe on a black one it's all right, but I still think the black trim looks a lot better. So let me know what you think of the car. Let me know if this is something you would choose or if you go with something else. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video. You got a lot to say over there?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Gang, gang.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Scooch out.
Bye.